Right, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to another great episode on your favorite political talk show, The Truth, with Ben Jokes. Insecurity. Sokoto youths threaten to take up arms in self-defense. Growing frustration over repeated bandit attacks and a surge in kidnappings has pushed youths in Shagari local government area of Sokoto state to consider taking up arms in self-defense. Honestly, I was a bit surprised when I saw this update. I couldn't believe that there are still areas in this country where people who are being attacked by terrorists and bandits are still considering taking up arms. Why would you still be considering? What are you waiting for? When the DSS boss himself came out to tell Nigerians that they would have to start defending themselves because the military and the police cannot go round. What are you still waiting for, the people of Sokoto? It is going to cost you. A lot of vigilantes, a lot of volunteers have been dying, but it is the best you can do for yourselves. It is better than just waiting at home for bandits and terrorists to come and waste your life. So there is no need to consider. Get up and begin to defend yourselves now. But ultimately, you must vote out the APC because they are the chief sponsors of terror in Nigeria. Now, let us look at the top stories. First is that one coming from Benue leaders, thief leaders in Benue State. These people have completely rubbished the impact of Tinubu on insecurity in Nigeria. And next is that big update coming from the Nigerian media after Tinubu claimed that he has exceeded his expectations for non-oil revenue and therefore Nigeria would not be needing to borrow anymore. The World Bank has now completely exposed Tinubu as they let the Nigerian media in on a $1.75 billion loan that Tinubu has applied for. And Nigerians erupted angrily to this development that has further exposed the fraud in this fraudulent government. Before I show you details of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this video.
Well, I will talk in my own capacity as a Nigerian. And I was not in politics yesterday. I'm not in politics today. And I have no plans to be in politics tomorrow. As far as I'm concerned, the economy is hurting. Nigerians are groaning in pains. The variables are down. There is serious poverty inertia, and the facts are clear. All I will say is this. Right from the time we went into democracy to now, I have noticed that political dispensation after political dispensation, unfortunately, Nigerian leaders have been caged. Nigerian leaders have been imprisoned by propaganda merchants. And as far as those propaganda merchants are not getting rid of, honestly, Nigeria's economy will finally grind into the valley. Anybody who tells you that the economy is looking good, that person is not honest to you. Any person who tells you that the economy is not experiencing serious stunted growth, that person is not honest to you. You know it and I know. All the economic variables are down. You know it. Some people say we, the citizens, are after entitlement. Is not correct. Are we enjoying any entitlement in energy today? No, as far as I'm concerned, there is no entitlement in electricity. We are not enjoying any entitlement in education. We are not enjoying any entitlement in health. We are not enjoying any entitlement in agriculture. We are not enjoying any entitlement in security. The only thing that we are enjoying today that I strongly believe some of those economic vampires have no control over is oxygen. Something tells me that if they have a way, they will cage and lock the oxygen. Our leaders from knowing the truth. There is a need to get rid of these propaganda merchants because the economy of Nigeria is in red. It is not me talking in Nigeria. People know it across the globe. We are not doing well. Yes, we have the population, but what is the quality of our population today? Before, we used to brag about our population. You cannot brag about our healthcare system today. You cannot brag about our Nigerian security. You cannot brag about our agricultural products. You cannot brag about our education. The only thing we can brag about today is oxygen. And oxygen is the free gift of God Almighty that nobody has control over, especially these propaganda merchants that have caged and blocked our leaders from knowing the truth.
You heard that. That was Engineer Balazaka speaking there. Engineer Balazaka is a petroleum stroke oil and gas engineer, and I admire how passionately he spoke about the problems of Nigeria and the impact on the people. But where I don't agree and where I seem confused is where he said that there are propaganda merchants who are blocking our leaders from knowing the truth. And there are some Nigerians who are of the notion that it is some propaganda merchants that are surrounding Tinubu that are not allowing him to see the true position of Nigeria, the true situation of things in Nigeria. I don't know why people think this way. I think it is absolutely delusional for anyone to think or insinuate that Tinubu is not aware of the present situation of Nigeria. He is very much aware. You cannot take the price of petrol from 190 naira to 1,000 naira and you say that you are not aware. And after removing the fuel subsidy, you began sharing the money to governors and lawmakers. You want to claim that you don't know that the governors and lawmakers will embezzle the money? That is not true. You know. As a matter of fact, you planned it with them. You are giving them that money so that they can support you in 2027. This is very clear. Nobody should start saying that it is some people that are surrounding him that are not letting him to see the true situation of the country. That is absolutely untrue. This is exactly how he wants this country to be. The reason why he's doing this, I don't know. The reason why the APC wants to destroy Nigeria, I cannot tell. But you can't tell me that they are not aware of what they are doing. That is one thing I will never accept. They are totally aware of their actions and the consequences of their actions on the Nigerian people. It behoves Nigerians now to say, no, we cannot continue to suffer in a land that belongs to all of us. Now, let us look at the top stories. First is that one coming from thief leaders in Benue State, insinuating that Tinubu is doing absolutely nothing on insecurity in Nigeria. And next is that big update coming from the Nigerian media after the World Bank let them in on a $1.75 billion loan that Tinubu is about to take. The same Tinubu that came to tell Nigerians that non-oil revenue is flying high and that we will not need to borrow again. Another move that has exposed this government as a fraud. Let's start by taking that update from the Benue leaders. Look at how the papers reported it. Yelwata. Nothing has changed since Tinubu's visit to Benue. Thief leader. The president of Unzo Thief UK, Mutuk, Victor Aleva, has decried that nothing has been done to rebuild the Yelwata community in Benue State after the deadly herdsmen attack in June, which claimed more than 200 lives. I was there in Yelwata last week Saturday and I saw things myself. I want to tell you that it is quite unfortunate. It is not about playing to the gallery or just saying things and being political. As I speak, nothing has changed. I told you here during the earlier interview that nothing good is going to come out of Tinubu's visit to Benue State. All those are just political. Nothing is happening in Yelwata. I have video evidence. I have interview from the locals. I was there live with my entourage. He said, recall that during Tinubu's visit to Yelwata, he asked that service chiefs and the Inspector General of Police IGP arrest those behind the dastardly attack. After a few days of the order, the Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun announced the arrest of 26 persons suspected to be masterminds of the killings in Yelwata. However, Aleva dismissed the reported arrest of the attack masterminds by the police, describing it as a lie. You know that is a lie because the president went there and scolded the Inspector General of Police, and just less than 48 hours or thereabout, they paraded some people. So it is a lie. I love traditional rulers that use their brains like this. You will clearly see that this man has not sold out because he's standing with the truth. Tinubu told IG, why are they doing all these things? Why can't you arrest them? In less than 48 hours, he paraded 26 people in a state that you have not been to for so many months. You don't even know what is happening there. So where did you get the 26 people that you paraded? And then everything he promised he was going to do in Yelwata, how he was going to secure the place and rebuild it, absolutely nothing has been done. And the attacks are still being carried out. This is the situation of this country. I need not say more than this. If Nigerians want a change, if they want to get out of this mess, they must put their foot down and get the APC out of power. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that update from the Nigerian media, as obtained from the World Bank, began making the rounds after bragging that revenues are now in full flow and that no more borrowings in Nigeria. The World Bank, through the Nigerian media, has exposed Tinubu's latest loan, $1.75 billion. Look at how the papers reported it. FG6 fresh $1.75 billion World Bank loan. The federal government plans to increase its borrowing despite a significant 40.5% surge in revenue for the first 8 months of 2025. This boost in revenue has largely been driven by substantial gains in non-oil revenue collections, as confirmed in a press statement on Wednesday by Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga. Based on the figures released by the presidency, Nigeria's fiscal performance from January to August 2025 saw total collections reach a record 20.59 trillion, surpassing the 14.6 trillion collected during the same period in 2024. It was noted that non-oil revenue now accounts for 75% of the total collections. However, despite these positive developments, Nigeria still faces substantial funding gaps in crucial sectors such as infrastructure, with low capital spending. Local contractors under the All Indigenous Contractors Association of Nigeria on Wednesday staged a protest at the headquarters of the Ministry of Finance in Abuja to demand payment for capital projects executed in 2024 amounting to about 4 trillion. To address these funding gaps, the government plans to borrow locally and domestically, despite an earlier claim by Tinubu on Tuesday in Abuja that Nigeria had met its revenue target for 2025 ahead of schedule and would no longer rely on borrowing to fund its budget. On Thursday, the Punch gathered that the World Bank is expected to approve loans totaling $1.75 billion before the end of the year to support key development projects in Nigeria, according to official data obtained from the bank's official website. These loans will finance several key initiatives, including projects in agriculture, health, and digital infrastructure. Development economist and CEO of CSA Advisory, Dr. Aliyu Ilyas, has expressed strong reservations over Nigeria's rising debt profile in light of fresh World Bank commitments. He recalled that when former President Muhammadu Buhari left the office for Tinubu, the nation's debt stock stood at about 87 trillion, but it has now risen to around 149 trillion, with fears it could approach 180 trillion. He argued that given the claimed revenue surpluses, the Tinubu administration should not have needed to borrow within its first 2 years in office, let alone at the scale currently being witnessed. It is an anomaly. It does not add up. You remove fuel subsidy and you are still borrowing like this? And this tweet here by George says, this man just announced that he has met his revenue target for the year, which implies we are in surplus. Where is the borrowing coming from? A government full of lies and deception. Does he even know what he's saying? Abi, is Bulaba syndrome back? We have never had it this bad. We have never had it this bad. And Henry Moses says, you removed fuel subsidy, you raised tax, and every day you are collecting loans. For what? Those proceeds from subsidy and tax What are they meant for? Or is it looting as usual? Of course, it is looting as usual. And this tweet by Human says, few days ago, this line machine said that he has met his economic goals for the year. Today, he is seeking a fresh loan. If the capacity and competence is not there, it cannot be manufactured. That is it. Tinubu and the APC don't have the capacity and the competence to lead this country forward. And then Imran Mohammed here put up his words when he said he had met his non-oil revenue targets for the year. And Mega Mixer says, I hope by the time these people are done with Nigeria, there will still be a place to call a country. If we allow them to carry out all that they want to carry out until they are done, I can assure you that there won't be a place called Nigeria. Because when you pick the major resources of the country, crude oil, and you are using it to take loans in advance, engaging loans that will last 20, 30 years with our major resources, you are selling out the country. That is what they are doing. There is no need to mince words, because your resources are you. And then look at what they are doing in the area of GMOs again, trying to make us dependent on the West for our food supply, for our seeds. When they are done, there will be nothing left of Nigeria. That is why we are encouraging Nigerians to reject them as much as we can. Anyway, make I leave am here. Make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una. Now I dey here. So don't go away. Don't go away.